take.
Well, this isn't what I was expecting. In the course of the Gears 4 Breakfast presentation, the developers surprisingly announced a new online multiplayer mode for A Hat in Time. But not only that, they also advertised the Creator DLC, a more elaborated workshop for high quality mods with the seal of approval from Gears of Breakfast themselves. This alone is a topic on its own, so why not start with A Hat in Time for the moment in this more relaxing impression video. First, I was quite shocked to see that A Hat in Time still will be supported to such an extent. Most people, including me, expected some sort of new game, be it a sequel or a small spin-off, so enhancing a 4-year-old game with meaningful additional content was rather unexpected to say the least. It's the same case with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where people still hold on hope for more DLC, even though the game already passed this point and will either remain finished or wait for the next entry. A Hat in Time already got new worlds, Death Wish and the online party thing, so further exploring what is possible is something I didn't anticipate. After all, thanks to Vanessa's curse, A Hat in Time gets even more jam-packed with variety and becomes harder and harder to 100% a new playthrough. Besides wanting a follow-up or RPG, a multiplayer game always appeared to be extremely plausible. You have an environment where players can consistently enjoy your game on a regular basis and keeping them entertained just by the nature of a multiplayer, while working on whatever is coming next. With this, you don't have to worry that customers will lose interest in your work, which I can imagine is a constant worry of an indie developer. They often don't have the capabilities to release completely new games frequently, and modding only caters for very passionate fans. The online party thing with 50 players is a great concept, but doesn't change the game per se, so having a full-on competitive online mode was just a smart move generally. From what it appears like, Vanessa's Curse seems to be a simple game of tag between two distinct teams. The controls look the same like in the game, but I think running will be unlocked independently from the corresponding head. What surprised me the most was the horror-like setting, and I think I'm not the only one being kinda disappointed that this hasn't released a month prior. The mansion in particular just looks like a great set piece for such an arena game with all the different rooms and hopefully little secrets and hideouts. It's just funny how the Snatcher gets all the love in the world, with not only starring in Death Wish as the host in a way, but also taking the main lead here as well. What makes this whole premise even better is the inclusion of Vanessa, who was reduced to only one level in the original game and a brief appearance in an optional story sequence. The trailer made it look like we will get further information on how the relationship was like before breaking up, but I think these clips are just going to introduce the player to the whole mode and act like a justification for choosing your side. Speaking of leading a role, the gameplay looked surprisingly standard. I mean, what can you expect from playing tag, but maybe it's the simplicity which will make the mode fun and beginner friendly. Much more interesting is the mansion itself, which I have to say looks visually absolutely amazing and atmospheric. From what it looks like, random events would change the state of the game, like flooding the house or adding fog and bringing the trick I was talking about. It actually reminds me of the random events in City Trial from Kirby Air Ride, and regarding how the creators love the GameCube, it probably isn't a far stretch to read something into it. I honestly hope we get the chance to explore the mansion independently from multiplayer, because it would be nice to get familiar with your surroundings without the pressure of winning, and I just love to walk around a well-designed world calmly. A Hat in Time has really great and floaty movement, so focusing on that aspect by catching other players brings the controls in the foreground. Especially when the DLC is released for a few days, the wheat will be sought from the chaff due to the tech you can perform after landing with a dive. It had no serious use in the main game besides moving faster, but now it gets a serious purpose and will become quite handy in bringing the victory for your team. It also just gives the mode a nice learning curve that trains your control skills, which can even come in handy for the main game, for example in Death Wish or any harder missions in general. This whole thing just seems to be a really elaborated composition of Queen Vanessa's manor in chapter 3, where you had to hide from her and solve some puzzles. It was always kinda weird how she only had one role in the whole game, whereas most characters at least appear a second time in the final, and while the mission was rather gimmicky and had nothing to do with platforming, it admittedly had some potential. Now it's quite unsure how long this mode mod will keep motivating players? Will there be additional maps, more in-game events, or is the mansion going to be so thrilling in its structure that we don't need any new arenas? To compensate for possible monotony, they even add more costumes, stickers, headgears and all that cosmetic stuff, which is always a nice addition and makes all the different headkits online more individual. So even if this mod isn't as fun as I hope it will be, I'm going to at least unlock every achievement and collectible, which will surely add some hours to the game. Overall, I'm quite pleased about Vanessa's Curse. I always wanted to see a proper online multiplayer, and with more DLC on the horizon, this is just the beginning. I'm speaking of the Creator DLC, a new partner program where passionate modders can submit their creations to Gears for Breakfast in order to fulfill their visions to a greater scope and with some support. This whole thing just seems to be rather confusing for most people, but the developers actually released a short Q&A section on their homepage with most questions already answered. I'm not going to repeat all the points mentioned there, but from my understanding, Gears for Breakfast is not going to be involved in development, but only advertise the project and add some artworks and supervise everything from outside. It's like mods and fan projects put on a higher level by getting the official support from the developers, which is absolutely amazing and really clever from a business standpoint. They don't have to use their own resources, or at least most of them, to still work on ahead in time, and instead can fully concentrate on whatever they now creating. Furthermore, they inflame the passion of the modding community again, because if you have the talent and get the chance to submit amazing ideas fully realized in the main game, you should absolutely use it. If Nintendo would present a partner program where level designers could submit their Mario Maker creations for a fully realized standalone game, there's no way I would miss that opportunity. And for all the people that hope for a proper Ahead in Time 2, it seems like we already got our answer. In a short tweet, they made it clear that their next studio title is going to be not related to Ahead in Time in any kind and will be completely new game. Again, while this seems like a small disappointment at first, it's also the chance for something great as well. I mean, you often don't know what you wanted until it's announced, so we just have to be patient. Maybe a first trailer next year, hopefully. Whatever the case may be, it's only a few days left before Vanessa's Curse releases, and maybe I'm going to do a short review or some kind of impression video, who knows. Meanwhile, write down your thoughts on the topic in the comments, and did you wish for something more substantial, and will you play Ahead in Time just for this mode again? Until then, I hope we see us in the mansion.